After the war, an enormous amount of Jewish refugees flee to Israel. There's a time when they're not able to come because of the British mandate, but within a very short period of time they become the biggest among the Jews, the biggest group with a common denominator. Hannah Jablonka's research shows that about 50% of the Jews in Palestine during the 50s are Holocaust survivors. So it's an enormous amount among the Jews in this country. These are very difficult times. Actually, for Europeans, Europeans were very busy with how difficult things were for them. In Israel, it's about 600,000 people who have to absorb about 1.5 million people within about 10 to 15 years. So these are proportions that are absolutely incredible. The Jewish people living in this country, at that time, I think many of them, their basic attitude is one of blaming the Jews coming to this country in those who were here before, those who are, so to say, absorbing those who are just coming. Because Zionism was built on the idea that Jews have no future elsewhere. The future for Jews can only be in their own independent state. And the reason for not coming here was because life was so comfortable in Vienna and in Berlin. So the Jews who came here and had a pretty hard life coming here blamed those who stayed there for staying for all the wrong reasons. You stay there because you had such a nice life. But now, after you've seen they sort of said, we told you so. We told you it'll end badly. And now you're complaining? You could have known that before. We knew it. You were our brothers and sisters. You chose to look away because life was so good at the time. So there was an attitude that was not so nice. At the same time, those who came here, this place was full of hope and optimism, not like Europe was. And what I hear from many Holocaust survivors that I spoke with, actually all of them, I didn't hear anything different from any survivors that I spoke with, is that upon coming here, what they experienced is wonderful things, is this feeling of belonging to an enormous, optimistic new start of life, of energies, of positive energies, of shaping their future together, of belonging to something, which is what they did not feel in Europe. And after all that death and horrible events they left behind, the sense here was that they're building something. It was the opposite of all this death. It was rebuilding something new. And many people got married and had many kids, a lot because of this wish to create a new life.